This is the 2019 Mini Cooper, and it's just pretty much back to basics fun.
The Mini is a car that has since its resurgence stubbornly held on to its unique styling cues. And as a result, even in its most basic form, the Mini Cooper immediately demands your attention and makes its presence known, even if in this case it's sort of like a stubborn toddler tugging at your pant leg. This year, the base Mini sports a new yet familiar badge design and an engine taken from the i8, sort of. The Mini has a twin-scroll turbocharged 3-cylinder engine with 136 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque. This one is a manual transmission with auto rev match, and other than a sunroof and heated seats, there aren't really that many options on this Mini, but that might be a good thing.
You know what? It's not very often that as a car reviewer, I get given a press car that is a very base model. And sometimes it's refreshing because it's nice to spend time in cars that people actually buy. So if you have about 25 grand, you've got a lot of options, obviously. But if you're looking for something that's kind of different and fun, a little bit practical, and just kind of has character, then this is actually a really good option. It really is. I like Minis. Now, I didn't actually like Minis that much until I drove the John Cooper Works last year. The one with the nuclear launch trigger exhaust button that makes everything pop and crackle, and it's amazing. And this does not have that at all. The only option this has, in fact, is the chili red color, which is $590, some wheels, which are $200, and it's the classic line. That's $1,300, which gives you like a panoramic sunroof and whatnot. So it has very minimal things, and it comes in at a very reasonable price. So no, it does not have all the suspension adjustments. It doesn't have the fast engine. What it does have, though, is a turbocharger, and it has a 3-cylinder engine, which I like very much because I'm already sick of 4-cylinder engines. They all sound the same unless you really do some good exhaust tuning. And this is a 3-cylinder engine, so it sounds a little bit different, which is nice. And it has a twin-scroll turbocharger, which means that you're able to access the torque very quickly. If it's raining, it's impossible to pull away from a stoplight briskly because you'll just spin the front tires, because there's no limits of differential up front, obviously. And there is quite a lot of accessible torque down low. When I say a lot of accessible torque, I don't mean a lot of torque. I mean a very minimal amount of torque comparatively, but it's available really quickly because of the twin-scroll turbo. So that means that when I'm in, let's say, third gear, I downshift into second, there's a minor little bit of lag, and then there's the torque. And it makes a noise that I like. It's not a super exciting noise, but it's different, which is good. And I actually kind of like this car. Here's why I like literally I don't know what order I happen to release these videos in, but last week I was driving a 575 horsepower F-Type Jag SVR, and that car is faster than this one. However, I couldn't come close to tapping into the potential of that car on this back road that I drive all my cars on, and that gets a little bit tiresome because you're just like, I can't. Oh, throttle, oh, no, I can't. Oh, we got a straightaway, and the straightaway's over because this is a supercar. This is not that. I can wring this car's little neck all the time, and you're going 4, right? Second gear, foot planted in a corner, planted. My foot is planted, ran out of second gear, third gear, planted in third. Enter this corner maybe a little bit too fast, but I'm having fun, so I don't care. And it's just kind of deals with the corner. It's a Mini. So the front end is really agile. That's the best part about the Mini Cooper. In fact, any of them feel like this, and that's why I like them. Because the location of the front tires and this quick steering ratio they give it means that it really feels like it just wants to go whoop around a corner. In the city, it feels fantastic, and you can even feel that out on a back road. The turn-in, while there's quite a bit of front-end kind of lean, because we're on basic economy car suspension and economy car tires, you can feel that kind of wash from the car, but you still get the sense that it has really aggressive turn-in. And that's kind of the Mini Cooper signature dish, is that really crisp, fun, exciting feel in the front end. And that doesn't go away. At any speed you feel that, and it's fun. That's the best part about this car. You buy a Mini because you like that feel, that kind of like whoop turn into the corner. And it does it really, really well. Absolutely no complaints whatsoever about the way that this car goes around a corner. And in fact, if you really push this car in a corner, really enter the corner too fast, it becomes exciting. It doesn't understeer like some little front wheel drive hatchbacks. It just kind of floats through the corner in a really engaging way. You can start to feel how small it is when you start to drive it fast. And that's what I like in a little driver's car like this. You have a lot of options in the kind of economy manual hatchback world for this price range, especially if you live in Europe. I haven't driven things like the Renault, I don't even know what they are, but this car does the trick for me. I would buy one of these. It's cheap, it's fun, it looks really cool, and I am absolutely flat out everywhere I go, and that doesn't really get old. Now, I don't want to hear anything about how the Mini isn't mini enough anymore. Of course it's not. If it was, it would be a death trap. Can you imagine going up against an Escalade in one of these? By itself, that's scary, but can you imagine if it was as small as it used to be? And besides, the styling of the Mini hasn't gone anywhere. It still is very obviously a Mini to look at. The shape of it, the boxiness, kind of the flares, it's very characteristically Mini Cooper. And I think that's the coolest part about it. When you see one of these go by on the road, you know immediately that it's a Mini, unless you don't know what a Mini is. Now, let's talk about the transmission, because we do have a manual transmission, and it is fun. It's not the sharpest manual transmission that I've ever used. There's a little bit of rubberiness to the shifts. The throws are fairly short. However, there's a very positive feel when you get the car into gear. There's never a doubt that you have put the car into gear, which is a good thing. And the clutch, while the throw is very long, it has a very obvious engagement point. Some cars lately that have manual transmissions have really numb clutch pedal feel. This doesn't. It actually feels good, and it's easy to drive. Also, speaking of easy to drive, the seating position and the visibility is fantastic. That's one of the coolest things about a Mini. It has got that old fishbowl style thing going on. And with this panoramic sunroof in this package, I can see up this way. This is a minor gripe, but most cars that have a sunroof, or a moonroof as they're called, you can't, as the driver, you can't look out of them ever, because they start back behind your head. The Mini though, I look up and there's the sky right there. And that's kind of a fun characteristic of these cars that you don't really get in a lot of cars with sunroofs. And that coupled with the fact that, well, the windshield feels like it's a million miles away, which takes some getting used to. But I have this big kind of open, hey, Honda S2000. I kind of have this big open fishbowl look in front of me, and there's exactly 0 blind spots driving this car. Perfect city car, really, really is. Now, the interior of the car is, how do I put this? It feels cheap, and it doesn't feel cheap, if that makes any sense. Obviously, this is not the interior of the new Bugatti Chiron. It is not covered in cows, but it is covered in materials that look higher quality than other materials of cars of this price range. So there's certain plastic bits that feel a little bit cheap, but this is kind of a weird part to explain. The sheen of the fake leather, kind of soft touch coating they put on the thing, the sheen of it looks more expensive. Okay, that's kind of a hard thing to quantify, right? The amount of light it reflects, I guess, it doesn't feel cheap. Yeah, it's obviously cheap, but it doesn't feel cheap. I like the interior of the Mini, and it's really spacious. I've got a ton of room for my knees and my head. I've got this little extra sun visor. I've got a double sun visor thing going on. This one is maybe not necessary, but I think it's because this window's so far away from the windshield that if they extended, you wouldn't be able to cover this area. This kind of kills a little bit of headroom, actually, of which there is a lot. Now, the back seats are usable-ish. Depends on how tall the driver is. But when you fold the back seats down, there is a fair amount of storage space in this. You could use this for a weekend away or a road trip with 2 people. They sit in the front, obviously. So I like living with the Mini. I did some grocery shopping in it yesterday, and it kind of just nips around town and is fun, and you really get to ring it out, and I just kind of like driving it, right? Is it the most engaging car in the world? No, it is not. This is not the most exciting car, even maybe in this price range, but it is a Mini, and it is obviously a Mini. It has Mini characteristics, which I really do like about it, because it hasn't lost any of the things that make a Mini, even though it's one of the most basic ones that you can get. Another back road, foot flat. Whee! 80. Yeah. All right. The throttle response is actually pretty good, and the clutch is really forgiving. Let's talk a little bit more about the interior. This one has a manual climate control system, which is refreshing, actually, because usually I'm fiddling with auto climate and things going on. This package has the heated seats, which is nice. Yeah, that's it. The infotainment is all right. It's the smaller of the two options, like a 6.5 inch, and it's a touchscreen. Or I can use this little dial down here, which works as well. However, if you have this armrest down, not only can you not get to the dial, you also can't really use the gear selector. So this stays up pretty much permanently. I have a menu button, a media button, a back button, an option button, and I have a physical volume knob. The interface is fine. It's colorful and it's fun, and this little kind of ring lights up depending on what mode you're in. It also shows you how many revs. It gives like a visualization of your revs too, which is kind of cool. That's the good thing about this car. This is a short car review, actually, because there's not that much to talk about. It's just kind of a basic Mini, and it's nice. It's fun to drive a car that you don't have to think too hard about. You get in, flick the start button, put it in gear, and drive away. And that's refreshing nowadays. I feel like everything's a little bit too overcomplicated, especially considering this is made by BMW, and BMW is really good at making things overcomplicated lately. Look at the new M5. And this is just kind of simple and nice. The steering is good, the front end is good, it's engaging on a back road. It's not fast, but it doesn't need to be. It's never meant to be fast. You can get a faster one if you really want, but it looks cool. It's a Mini. It still looks like a Mini. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than the original Mini, obviously, but it is safer because it's not a small little death box that you drive around on the road. So, I mean, for the price you pay, I suppose comes in at 25,330 Canadian. That's a fair bit of money. I mean, you could almost get yourself a BRZ for that, but not quite. A BRZ would be a lot more fun from a driving perspective, but maybe not. It depends on what kind of a driver you are. If you're just looking to kind of zip around town and you're going to go to school or whatever it is, this might be the car for you because it has a nice ride. There's a lot of interior space. The seats are comfortable, and it kind of just eats up the miles. Whee! And you can just beat on it, and it just kind of takes it because there's not that much there. So it's just kind of, it's fun. I like this car, right? It could be maybe a little bit sharper, even in its most basic form. Probably, yes. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, because if you want a sharper one, go get one. Get the Mini Cooper S or the John Cooper Works. They're really, really fun. But if you're just looking for a basic manual Mini, this is a great car. It really is. You will not be disappointed driving this car every day. I haven't been. So, my name is Thomas Holland. Thank you for watching Throttle House. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. I got lots more car reviews coming, simple cars like this, and the more exciting stuff. Check out my website as well, thethrottle.house.com, and follow me on Instagram, @thethrottle house. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.